Okay, we are working on a project, a group project together where we are trying to build something that we consider link worthy. Another way of calling this is a link magnet. This would be something that goes on our website that is so valuable and wonderful. Other websites will build links to our site for us. And we know that part of the reason SEO works is not just that we do the right keyword research or put the right words on the page, but that other websites link to us. And so link building is a hard part of SEO, but sometimes we can build something so great on our website that we can attract links without necessarily going out and building them. And so we wrote this building link-worthy content process on Curious Ants. In the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about how to find our content idea. So for instance, my content idea was cost of this one, the cost of doing business online. So what I'd done a few years ago is I did a series of interviews and calculated some numbers that, how much it costs to kind of even run an online business. And so what I'm going to do as part of my link worthy project is I'm going to modify this to be more focused on web designers and developers to make sure they are pricing their projects competitively. But I'm also going to do a new survey and get new data because we all know prices have gone up in the last couple of years pretty significantly. So that's what I'm going to do. And I know everyone else has kind of come up. So would one of the rest of you suggest what your idea that you're going to be pursuing is for this link worthy content? I'm going to call out some people because you had some we had some great ideas last time.
All right. Well, the one that I'm going to do, I'm going to explore like Google fonts and their usage and what makes good font pairings, and why some other font pairings are poor choices. I did find some just to give you, I found some Google Analytics. I have to convert. I have to OCR the content because there's so much data on it, and I
Yeah,
can look at it from an all-time usage perspective, and then or just in the last year. So that was some really nice data that I found.
great,
It
great.
makes some infographic type things that or would hopefully be shareable.
Yeah, yeah, awesome, awesome. What were some of the other ideas?
I was going to use the Google Trends data that shows searches for how do you turn off Meta AI search had increased by 1,800% in the last 90 days,
Yeah,
and get my network's feedback on where they thought Meta went so wrong with this new feature that many people would want to search for that term.
yeah, great, great. Tricia, what was yours?
I haven't picked yet.
I thought you did.
We were talking about one, but I'm not sure.
Go ahead and tell us what that one was. Refresh your memory.
So let's see. It was talking about how the specific case that came up was basically an API where people had connected it to their Google business profile and had gotten every business that was connected through that API suspended.
Okay, yeah.
And that wasn't the full topic. It was kind of related to that. Like
Okay.
that was the result of it. And so um, I'm not sure. Because I think like thinking back on it, we were saying that we needed to um, be able to, I'm trying to think what was the part of the process.
I think it was
That,
something to the effect of things that get your Google business profile banned.
Yeah.
That seemed like a good idea on how to prevent it? Something to that effect? Was that it?
That sounds good, but I don't think that was it, but I actually like that.
Because this would be
That
an
would be really
example.
good.
Yeah.
And I would say suspended instead of banned.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference. And if you get banned, you definitely don't want that. Okay. Because I think I was kind of because like you said, when we pick it, we have to also kind of be aware of like collecting the information and then
Yeah, like trying to find like stats on information.
yeah,
Right.
You know, like 'cause
yeah,
I'm just going directly to Google, but like in David's example, he had a survey,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
right?
like
So,
that
like
part of
what
it.
data can you collect for that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, does Google share stats on? Yeah, like
that's the
who's
thing.
yeah,
It's, you know,
might be a little tough.
yeah. I mean, to actually say, I mean, I can say, these are what I see from businesses coming to me.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that would kind of be, the most things that I've seen that are wrong.
Yeah. And Anala, you had an idea too.
I feel like all my ideas were like blog posts. So I came up with like a dozen blog posts rather than anything that maybe was really worthy of it. And also I don't know. So one I just thought of as somebody said it was actually just going through and interviewing the clients and seeing how they were uh, attained, because I doubt in 40 years she's actually done that. But everything is just ends up that I think of just ends up sounding like a blog post more than actually bait worthy
So yeah, I,
stuff.
I I don't think you should diminish yourself or your idea that quickly. Because remember, the worst case scenario is we have a really good blog post on our website, right?
Yeah.
If we get trapped no links, we still have something that's unique and good. But sometimes these things that don't have a lot of flash can be very successful. And the other side of it is, what does success mean? Is it only successful if we get 1,000 links to our website? I don't think most of our websites could handle 1,000 backlinks, right? If we got 2 or 3, that could be very successful. And if I'm recalling, the business that you're working with is a very small business.
Right.
Right. So success doesn't necessarily have to be go viral. It could mean go viral in the small community in which they find themselves, which may not be large, but still the fact that you wrote a better than average blog post, pulling data and making it unique and still could be really worthwhile.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be something that ends up on BuzzFeed next week or whatever
Well,
for
I can
the be
almost guarantee
valuable, right?
I mean, I would see like, yeah, having like a dozen new blog posts, content ideas is really good. I mean, like this post, I'm gonna have to build a blog. So really that's just value there for me. Like I don't
Right.
have one. So in order to go through this process, like I find that that's gonna be valuable for me.
Right.
So regardless of whether or not anything happens,
Yeah.
because of it.
Yeah. And that's a great point. Like while we're focusing on a link worthy content or a link bait piece, we're going to come up with other ideas. Save them.
Yeah, definitely. I
Right.
think I have some good ideas
Right.
for
Yeah.
that.
Save them somewhere. On my Trello board, I have a dedicated column to someday. And that someday column, when I'm kind of at a loss of what the heck I want to do because I just don't know, I go to that someday list and be like, oh, that's a great idea. And I'll find the inspiration that I needed. And so, that's another value of this is it gets the creative juices flowing and you can come up with stuff. And so I'm finding a lot of like, ooh, now I'm backing track. I'm second guessing myself. And I get that, but I'd say go for it, even if you're second guessing yourself. Because again, the worst thing is you have a really good blog post.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
don't
still
think
something to be worthwhile.
yeah, it's definitely going to be worthwhile because I don't think I've posted on this since
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anything's going to be better than what I have. But I
Right.
do have some good ideas, but I don't know how wide,
Yeah.
broadly popular they would be.
Yeah. So in other words, today last couple of weeks we've been talking about the find to content idea. And that's great. Pardon me. Today I want to start to talk about step 2 here, which is collecting information. So we know that we have like 5 steps in this process, but we all kind of have to consider all of them at the same time, right? We got to not only think of an idea, but think of a way that we can include a lot of pieces of information. We need to figure out how we're going to produce it. We need to figure out where we're going to publish it, right? Because I think with one of us, at least, it was like maybe we don't publish. I think, was it Janelle, that you don't have a blog on your website, right? So you're going to have to publish it somewhere else, right?
Oh, I'm gonna
That's
create
okay.
a blog.
That's okay. Like the Commerce Kids got niches. We all get that. No one's judging. But and then but so we're thinking everything at the same time, but at the same time we need a little focus. So here are some ideas I'd like you to consider of where you're going to get information for your link bait piece. So I really like the idea of doing a survey. I think surveys can be great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to survey my email list. I'm going to put a couple of links on my social media page to get some other people. I'm just going to create a Google form, right? I don't have to pay for SurveyMonkey, right? Do Google form for free. I'm going to ask some partners. I'm a part of a couple different like mastermind groups. I'm going to ask some people there. If I get 2 or 3 people answering questions, super, right? Reddit, within reason, is a great place to get some information. Like there's a web dev subreddit. I'm going to contact the moderators at the web dev subreddit and ask them if they will be willing to publish my survey to collect answers. They may say no. Then I wouldn't do it because I don't want to get banned from the subreddit, right? Because they will.
Yeah.
But they might allow me. Now, if your topic is a little bit broader, which actually has several advantages, you could potentially submit things to Sample Size, which is a subreddit for people who actually want to take time to answer your questionnaire. I've gotten thousands of answers before from this subreddit. Another source besides surveys is if, let's say you have an original source of information, team up with them or find industry partners and experts. So for instance, in Awa, you had talked about the relationships you have in that community. Like, ask them some thoughts. And sometimes it's not about collecting data like a survey. Sometimes it's about reaching out and just getting thoughts and comments. Right? So I think that's one of the things Stephanie was thinking about, right? Reaching out to some of her fellow social media experts and getting thoughts and anecdotes to add to the post, right? It's great if you can combine all of them and have a survey and then have your partners comment on the results of the survey, right? Maybe your partners, because they're helping you develop the survey, have kind of an ego reason to share the survey a little further than your network. But again, it doesn't even have to be a survey, right? It could be like Janelle, you're pulling some data from font usage data objectively, right?
Yeah, but then I can like, just do I can ask admin bar if I can do a survey there, or just like put out a post and get comments, and I can use those as pull quotes or something, or like it may spur on some other ideas that I could use for the article itself.
Yes, yes.
Or like stuff that they hate, right? Like, or like worst font combinations ever or something like that.
Yeah.
Like anecdotal like stories.
Yeah. If we just do an anonymous survey and we never get to connect to those people before, we'll get some good data. But again, we're not going to collect data and that's the end of the story. We need to think about this in terms of what we're producing. Are we producing a blog post, an infographic, a video, something? And then how we're going to promote it. So if we're asking some people about their opinions, when we come back to them and say, hey, Tricia, thank you for contributing to our survey of local business experts. What is Tricia going to do when her name is included in the list of Google My Business Experts?
I'm going to send it out to everybody.
Share the heck out of that thing, right? and I say this because Tricia is often included in a very credible survey annually for local business experts. And she's asked because she knows what she's doing. So please don't take this as diminishing you in any way, Tricia. But they're asking you because they want you to promote it.
Yeah.
Too, right? And that's one of the things that's really important with this concept. Things don't go viral. Sometimes things go viral randomly, but most of the time there's a strategy behind it. And that's what we're trying to get into here, right? So what are your initial thoughts of how are you going to collect your information and come back next week with where you're going to get your information? Okay. I'm going to create I got to recreate a survey. I got to think of where I'm going to share this survey to get as much information as I can. And then I'm going to think of some experts, not just web developers, but like Nathan Ingram, who's a business coach, right? People like that to kind of lend some insight into this. Another person I really think does a really great job as a business person is Melanie Adcock, right? She's really smart in the way she's built her business. And I'd like for her to give me some voice to weigh in on some of the thoughts of the survey. So now that is where I'm going to get stuff. And I'm eventually going to go in. And in my case, the produced content is going to be an update of the blog post. But that's what I want y'all to do by next week. Where are you going to get your information? You don't have to do it by next week. Just think about where, and then we're going to talk about and help improve each other's ideas of getting the information we need, whether it's data in a survey or anecdotal or what. But the wider you cast, the better it's going to be to promote. So if I do a survey, one of the things I'm going to have in the survey is, if you'd like to hear the answer to the survey, give me your email and I'll send it to you. Right? And so now I've got a bunch of strangers who I don't necessarily know potentially promoting the content. And it's not just dependent upon my work. But anyway, can we do that by next week? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Well, I appreciate seeing you. Greg, I'm glad to see you too. Glad you could join us. And ask questions in the meantime. And I'll see you all next Wednesday.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.